Hi guys, hi everybody. Welcome back to the FPL Duo. Sorry for the delay. Obviously, we're about 10, 11 minutes late. Just had to do something. So sorry, apologies for that lateness. But yeah, we're back again for another video. And today's video is the FPL team of the season. Um, so yeah, we're going to be discussing the 15 players that we believe have been the best, and we'll go into my team who I pick, and then also we'll go for Jordan, and we'll see who he's decided to pick for his team of the season. So we've picked 11 players each, and then also three on the bench. Oh, sorry, four on the bench to discuss, and we'll be getting into that. But before we do start, guys, don't forget to drop a like on the video and also subscribe if you're new. But how are you, Jordan? How is everything going?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. We're edging ever closer to finding out the fixtures and then finding out when the new season is to start. So, yeah, time is moving fast at the moment, but
Yep.
it's more excitement yet to come.
All right, let's get into the video then, and let's talk about the team of the season. So yeah, let's bring up my team first and the players I've went for. If we could bring it up, I'll let you do that, Jordan.
Yep, so the first player.
All right, the first player we've got in goal, I've gone in goal, is Sa. I've gone with Sa because, as you can see, guys, 146 points he got um, this season, and I believe he was also a very good goalkeeper to have if you had him. What did he start on again at the start of the season? How many points? Sorry, what was his price at the start?
Oh,
Let me just double check, because I know he was a quite a good goalie to have from the start. But yeah, Sa is in my team. So 146 points, very good for the price. I think it was for about 5 million, wasn't he?
yeah, it's around the 5 mil mark.
Yeah, so he's
That's
done very
Sa.
well. And I've chose Sa. But yeah, that's my first goalie, guys. Let's bring up the next one. No surprise, as you can see, I've gone with Allison in goal. He was the top scoring goalie, I believe, with 176 points. I've gone with Allison. I know he wasn't in many teams because obviously his price at around 6 million, which is quite high. But if you had him, if you just held him for the whole season, probably done you quite well. But I usually tend to go for a cheaper goalie. I always tend to go with the 4.5 million goalie anyway. So I don't really like having a premium goalie, but that's just my strategy when I play. But Alisson, 176 points. Great season with Liverpool. I think he got the most clean sheets as well, along with Edison. Sorry. And yeah, another great season for him. And he'll be back next season, I think, getting similar points again. So yeah, that's the goalies out the way. I went with Sa and Allison, and those are my goalies of the season in terms of FPL that I've gone with. I've gone for one value pick with Sa, and I thought I'd put Allison in purely because he is the highest scoring goalie in the game, so he had to be in there for me. Now let's move on to the back, the defense. All right, the first defender is no surprise, with 201 points. That is Cancelo. Another brilliant season from him. Yeah, where do we start? He got a few assists, also a couple of goals. Won the league with Man City. Yeah, all in all, a great season from Cancelo. Over 200 points from a defender, which is great season. You can't really complain with that. There's not some midfielders that even hit, or strikers that hit 200 points. So great season from Cancelo, and he's probably going to be in my team for next season. I think he started out around the 6 million.
Yeah, I think it was 6 mil to starting price in the season.
Yeah, so another player that brilliant season. Really can't really complain too much. 201 points, and yeah. What did you make of Cancelo's season?
Yeah, he had a very successful season. It's not easy to get over 201 points, 200 points in fantasy. It's very hard unless you're very consistent in pretty much most of the weeks. Cancelo to achieve that is a colossal milestone for him as a player in himself. I think he'd be very pleased if he does know about fantasy football that he got 201 points as a defender.
Yeah, as you can see, it's always a great amount of points to achieve. Let's move on to the other players in my defense. And the next player is Robertson. I don't think that's a big surprise to anyone. Another great season from Robertson. He ended up on 186 points, which is also very respectable. You know, got quite a lot of assists, some couple of goals in there as well, I believe. I think he got 1 or 2 goals. But yeah, Robertson, a lot of clean sheets. As you can see, that my defense will be dominated with Liverpool and Manchester City players purely because they are the best defenses in the league. And yeah, I went with Robertson. I had him in my team. I had him through halfway through the season. I bought him in, and he went on a run. A lot of clean sheets, a lot of bonus points he picked up for me. So 186 points, can't really complain with Robertson. Great season again, and he is in my team of the season. So yeah. Now let's move on to some centre backs. Okay, sorry. Before we get into centre back, it's another fullback, and it is another Liverpool fullback. And that is Trent Alexander-Arnold, top scoring defender in the game, 208 points. Another brilliant season from him, and he's going to be in my team next season already. With I'm pretty much certain on that. But yeah, you can't really have a team of the season without Trent, can you? Really, 208 points. I think 12 or 13 assists. I think 13 assists. I think he got also the odd goal here and there. A lot of bonus points in there as well, and I think he was template from the game week 1 pretty much, and he's been in my team since game week 1 to game week 38. I think I've not took him out, and he just stayed in my team. He's as nailed as it gets. His attacking output, defensively also picking up clean sheets with Liverpool, and I think couldn't really go wrong with Trent. So he's in my team, and yeah, let's move on. The next guy in the back line is another Liverpool player, surprisingly, and that is Van Dijk. 183 points from Van Dijk. He's also another one of the top scoring defenders in the game. Started the season at 6.5 million, I think, which is it's quite fairly priced, I'd say. 183 points though. Another top season from Van Dijk. This was Van Dijk got the injury last season, coming back to perform the way he's done. I think he's been brilliant. Helped shore up the back line in Liverpool. He's also scored, I think, 2 or 3 goals this season. So yeah, I think Van Dijk's been great this season, and especially to end the season with the most clean sheets. I think very good, and he could be in our thinking for next season. I'd probably go with the fullbacks because Van Dijk's an interesting one though, because he's one I've never owned at all through the whole FPL season I played. I didn't own Van Dijk, and that's mainly because I've always gone with Robertson and Trent because they just have a bit more attacking threat. But as you can see, Robertson only scored 3 more points than Van Dijk, which isn't a lot at all. And for the price tag of 0.5 million difference, I think it was. Sorry, $1 million difference.
Yeah, because Van Dijk was 6.5 when he started.
And Robertson was 7.5. So yeah, $1 million difference. I don't think there was much in it really then, because as you can see, Van Dijk still ended up with 3 points behind. For £1 million less, Van Dijk was value. But we will come on to value defenders, and I think Jordan's team, he's got someone in there who, in my opinion, is the most valuable defender this season. Sorry. So yeah, Van Dijk stays in, and then let's move on to the bench player, I would say. So as you guys can see, I've gone with Reece James to complete my backline. And that's purely because, you see his points, 141 points, which is very, very good, considering that he was injured for a large period of the season. I think Reece James, if he played, if he wasn't injured, then I think he would hit 200 points or near close to 200 points. I wouldn't be surprised. I think points per game, he's even higher than Trent, I believe. So if Reece James didn't get that injury, I do believe he would have hit 200 points, and that's why he's in my team, because when he does play, he is a great option to have in FPL, as we know, goals, assists, bonus points. I still remember that game week, the double game week, when I bought him in and I captained him, and he ended up getting me about 36 points or something, and then he goes and gets injured a couple of weeks after because Tuchel rushed him back. But yeah, he's a great option, along with Trent, along with Cancelo. And I've put him in there because when he has played, he's been brilliant. And I think he's one to look out for next season as well. Let's see how he does in pre-season and everything. But yeah, what do you make of the players I've picked so far, Jordan? That's the back completed.
Yeah, pretty much for the defense. It's pretty much most of them a template for what people pretty much carried through the whole season, like Cancelo, Trent, Robertson.
Mhm.
Other than Van Dijk and Reece James, where people didn't really have them. But yeah, I'd say Van Dijk was the hidden gem that people could have potentially gone for as well.
Yep. We will talk about your team as well, obviously. Yeah, I think you've got someone I've seen in your team that, in my opinion, is the best defender, the most valuable defender. And we'll come on to that. But yeah, overall, in all, I've a couple of template players in there, I guess, but that's why they're template, I guess, because they're most likely to get you points.
Yep, exactly. There's a lot of points there for people that might not have had certain players for the length of the season. And that just shows how much points you miss out on.
Yeah. Well, let's move out and onto the midfield now. Let's bring up the midfield. And the first midfielder is Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I've put Kevin De Bruyne in at 196 points he accumulated, which I think is very respectable, nearly 200 point barrier. But I think Kevin De Bruyne had a slow start to the season. I think up until Christmas, Kevin De Bruyne wasn't really performing at that level we expect. But since the turn of the new year, which is quite opposite to Salah, since the turn of the new year, he's been instrumental for Man City, and I believe he's the key reason why Manchester City ended up winning the title, where he went on that run where he started scoring against Chelsea, and then he just, goals and assists pretty much every week. I remember the hat trick as all he got against Leeds. I think that 17-minute hat trick or something like that, if I remember correctly. And yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, he's got to be in there for me. 196 points. Still think he was good value for money if you bought him in for the second half of the season. And yeah, that's why he's in my team. Another solid season from him. Let's move on to the next midfielder. Moving on to the next midfielder, and that is as I've said many times, the FPL king. That is Mo Salah on 265 points. I think that's his fifth consecutive 200+ point season in a row, and that it puts him at probably, for me, the undisputed best player in FPL that we've ever had. So yeah, where do we start with Salah? Really, I know he tailed off massively, I'd say, in terms of output from, I'd say, around February time when he came back from AFCON. But before that, from the start of the season, from about September till January, he was averaging nearly, 10, 11 points a game, which was crazy. Pretty much everyone's captain every week. But then obviously that dip came during the second part of the season, which frightening to think, if he did end up scoring a couple more goals, he could have potentially broke 300, which I think his best ever FPL season is 313 points. And that was his first ever season for Liverpool, 17-18. So it's still a very good season from Salah, top scorer, top assister, And even though he had that drought, he still ended up with more goals and assists than everyone else. So great season from him. It's a shame where he couldn't carried on that form for the rest of the season. But he is 100% coming into my team for the start of next season. Whatever happens, if he stays at Liverpool, which we assume he will, he's definitely in my game week 1 team. I have no doubt about it. He's the best player still to have for me. So yeah, Salah, great season, and he's in my. If I had to pick one player, I'd still say Salah for me, team of the season, player of the season. So yeah, let's move on to the next player on the list, and that is for me. I'd say Bowen is the biggest surprise package of the season. I think no one expected him to do that level of performance. I think at the start of the season, he was only priced at 6.5 million, guys. So for him to hit 200 plus points as a 6.5 million price player, that doesn't happen that often. You know, FPL, he's going to get a major price increase, I believe, to maybe 8 million or something for next season. But yeah, he's the surprise of the season, I think, for me. 206 points, great season for West Ham. A brilliant season for West Ham as well. So can't really go wrong with Bowen in there. I think he's easily in there for me, no debate. Next season will be interesting to see what his price is. No way he's at price at 6.5. And you always get those players every now and then where they're priced 6-7 million and they end up having a massive breakout season like that. And if you are early on those type of players, then you could do very well for your rank. And he's one of those players. And yeah, what do you make of Bowen? You know, no one really saw this type of performance from him from the start of the season. I end up, what did he got? Like 10. How many goals did he get?
12, like 15, I think. Goals, maybe 15.
I'm just checking. 12 goals.
Oh, 12 goals.
12 goals and how many assists? And 10 assists. So double figure goals and assists from Bowen, which is, you know, that's great.
Yeah, good counterbalance, because we all thought at the start of the season it would either be Ben Rama or Antonio really the outshiners for West Ham, but no one really thought of Bowen coming out of, well, the shadows of West Ham with an impressive 206 pointer at the end of the season. It was quite a shock to see, but we like those kind of shots because it just changes the aspect of fantasy football.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's been a nice surprise, really. That we didn't expect him to hit that 200 plus point mark, and hopefully, you know, if he could do it again next season, that'll be great. But yeah, let's move on now to the rest of the players. Another midfielder, and that's another midfielder who I think has had another brilliant season is Saka. 179 points from him. I think he was also priced at 6.5, wasn't he, at the start of the season?
Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah, I'll let you get that just to double check. But yeah, Saka, you know, Arsenal's main man, I'll say, top scorer for Arsenal, I believe.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. So 11 goals for Saka this season. So yeah, another great season for him. And Arsenal ended up finishing 5th, missing out on Champions League football. But I think Saka's been a bright spot for their team. You know, only 20 years old, and I'll say he's the main man carrying that Arsenal attack. So yeah, all in all, I think he's had a really good personal season, individually, and in FPL terms, he's one that's been in my team for most weeks. I'd say I've had him in for, you know, since the start of the season till pretty much near the end, because 6.5 million is an interesting price bracket, because around that price you don't really get those consistent players usually. So for Saka and Bowen to be priced at 6.5 to, you know, consistently deliver for us pretty much, I'd say, you know, two very good players for their price bracket. I'd say the best 6.5 million price players we've had this season are those two. And yeah, brilliant season from him. So yeah, let's move on to the final midfielder that I've picked. All right, so the final midfielder I've picked is Son. I believe Son was priced at 10 million this season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan. And he ended up smashing, you know, smashing everything. 258 points. He also shared the golden boot with Salah with 23 goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, he ended up taking the golden boot with Salah. And Son, what a season he's had on an individual level, ended up getting Champions League football as well with Spurs. And for a player that was priced at 10 million, I'd say he's been an excellent player to have. In my opinion, he's going to get a huge price rise next season. I think he'll be at least 12 million. I'll be surprised if he isn't 12 million. If he's anything below 12 million, I think I'll be shocked. And I'll definitely be looking to bring him into my team. But yeah, Son is one of those players. We all know he's a brilliant player. He always outperforms his XG. So whenever people are looking at stats, Son is consistently outperforms his XGs, which he's a clinical player, and brilliant season from him. And yeah, unfortunately, I was one of those guys that went with Kane over Son on my game week 26 wildcard, I believe. So I missed out on a lot of his points, and he was quite frustrating, when he was scoring, and then I had Kane who didn't score those weeks. But yeah, brilliant season from Son, and can't really complain if he gets a massive price rise. I do believe he'll be around 12 million next season, and we're interested to see how he does in that price range. Is he value for money? Will he start in your team, guys? Let us know. Let us know actually in the comments below who you guys think. Did I miss any defenders or midfielders out, and which one do you agree with me for the player of the season? And also, guys, don't forget to smash the like button and also subscribe if you're new. We're very close to 250 subs. If we can get to 250 subs before the season starts, that would be very much appreciated. We've got a comment here from Hossam, says Bowen is a must in game week 1 in my opinion, keeping in mind that Lingard may be back with the Hammers this season. Yeah, Bowen will be interesting. I definitely got my eye on Bowen for game week 1. I'll have to see what his price is. Obviously, I do believe he'll get a considerable price rise. And yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on Bowen for sure. Yeah, would you agree, Jordan, with that?
Yeah, I do. Well, it's gonna be tricky because obviously the price rises of players like Bowen. It's gonna be hard to fit in all the ones you want and a must have in game week 1. But also with Lingard as well, if he goes to West Ham this season, it's going to be a great signing for West Ham because when Lingard was on loan to West Ham, he did slot in really well.
Yeah. All right. That's the midfield out the way. And now let's see what forward options I've gone with. So 3 forwards I've picked. Who's the first one? Okay, the first one is Antonio. Now, this could be a surprise to some people because, as we know, the second half of the season, he had a massive dip in form, and he went weeks blanking. He was blanking every week, pretty much. It felt like, but we do forget at the start of the season he went on a massive run of scoring and assisting pretty much every game. I think in the first 5 games, I think he scored like 3 goals and like 5 assists or something like that. He had a great start to the season, and then obviously we know as he dipped off form and he struggled to keep that up. But how much was he priced at? I think it was 7.5, wasn't he? If you can check for me. But yeah, Antonio ended up the season with 140 points. Disappointing end, but I still think he's still in my team of the season just because I had him from the start. He was one of the players I had from game week 1. And he paid off massively. If you had him from the start, guys, let me know because I know if he helped me massively. I ended up getting into the top 3K, with the start he had. But then I know I maybe held on to him for too long, hindsight and everything. But yeah, he's still in my team of the season. But hopefully, next season he can keep that form up throughout the season. But it'll be tough because he did look leggy, during the end of the season. But yeah, Antonio's in my team, and let's move on to the next player, Jordan.
Yeah, he was priced at 7.5 mil, so it was expensive.
Yeah, I'll say that's like mid-priced.
Yeah.
And moving on to the next player, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo on 159 points. he was priced at 12.5 million, I think, Ronaldo at the start of the season. And I put Ronaldo in there because overall, I still think, he ended up getting 17 goals this Premier League season. And that isn't too bad if you look at it on the face of it. But whether it's value for money is the question to be had, because obviously at 12.5 million, it's very hard to fit Ronaldo, Salah, De Bruyne, Kane, Son potentially in your team. Maybe he isn't the most value for money, but I still think as a striker, he's been one of the better strikers this season. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that there wasn't many great striker options, if we're being honest, this season. So it was very hard for us to select strikers. But yeah, Ronaldo's in my team. 17 goals is still very respectable. He's 36, 37 now, and to come back into the Premier League to get 17 goals isn't a bad shout. So he's in my team. Let's move on to the final striker for my team. And for me, probably been the best striker this season, would you say? And that's that's a crazy shout, because if people remember, from September to about November, December, Kane was, pretty much a shambles. He was struggling to score goals. Spurs were in a mess. I think Nuno, the manager they had, Nuno Santos, got sacked. And then something changed midway through the season. Obviously, Conte coming in was massive for Spurs. And I think that galvanized Harry Kane. And as you guys can see, second half of the season, Spurs had a brilliant ending to the season. And Harry Kane and Son both picked their form up and performed brilliantly. I think Harry Kane got on board after his failed move to Man City. And Conte revitalized him, and he ended up nearly getting 200 points. So very good season, I'd say, still from Harry Kane. Obviously, if they had Conte from the start, you never know what could have happened. I definitely think he would have scored a lot more goals. But Harry Kane comes into my team for the way he ended the season and the way Spurs ended the season, I think. So, guys, that is the team. I've picked 15 players there. Let us know what you think of my team. Comment below and put in the chat. So Hossam here says, yep, and had Antonio from game week 1 and was priced at 7.5, same as Watkins. Yep, fair enough. I had him from game week 1 as well, and paid off. But I made the mistake of holding on to him for way too long. I held him through all those blanks he had, and a lot of that was down to high ownership. Because as soon as his ownership went up, then I was scared to get rid of him in case he scores and I didn't have him. But yeah, what do you think of the team, the 15 players I've picked, Jordan? I'll let you pick. Give me someone interesting, a bit of a differential from this team who's impressed you this season that you didn't think, maybe at the start you didn't rate, or you didn't think they'd get that many points.
I was thinking Reece James.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it wasn't a player that really, that really stood out at the start of the season until he started scoring and hauling. No one really thought Reece James would be that player to be getting returns as he has been or was getting through the season. I mean, it was unfortunate that he ended on 141. He could have really got near Cancelo or Trent sort of area in terms of points, but because of injury, and I think that's what did ruin his career in the Premier League this season, is his injury.
Yeah, also, Chilwell. I think Chilwell getting injured also had an effect on Chelsea. Obviously, he's another fullback that I think that could have had a decent season if he stayed fit. Obviously, he ended up getting injured with an ACL, I think, from around October time, and that sort of derailed Chelsea's season as well. So next season will be interesting to see how Reece James and Chilwell do, and maybe they could be ones that we look at on our game week 1 team, especially Chilwell, if they have a decent price next season. If Robertson, Cancelo, and Trent are priced too expensively, then maybe we go with someone like Chilwell, come back from injury. Hopefully, he can pick up some of that form, because Chilwell was also playing brilliantly before he got injured, and he was picking up a lot of points. So we'll see. We've got to see how that happens next season and see how that goes. But yeah, that's the team, guys. That is my team of the season I've picked. You've gone down a different pathway, and you've picked someone a bit more different. Like I looked at your team. You haven't got anyone that I've got, have you? That you went completely.
They're all completely different players that I've, in some way, have been MVPs in their own way.
Yeah. Okay, guys, just to clarify, so this is my team. So Jordan has the tough task of doing the same team of the season, but he's not really allowed to pick the players I have. We didn't really plan this, but yeah, Jordan thought he'd be a bit different rather than picking the same players as me, which is a bit boring. So he's not included Robertson, Trent, and all these guys, even though they had brilliant seasons. He's gone trying to be a bit different and picked players that I haven't really picked and give you a different angle. But yeah, let's bring your team up, Jordan, and you'll talk us through. But before we do, guys, don't forget to smash the like button if you're enjoying the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. We're almost close to 250 subs, and if we can get us there, don't forget to share the video on your socials and also, yeah, like the video. So Jordan, talk us through what's the plans. Who have you picked?
Okay, started with the goalkeepers. Our first goalkeeper is Sanchez, who got 126 points this season. Now, the reason why I picked Sanchez as one of the, let's say, MVPs of the season is solely because of the fact that he was priced at 4.5 mil, but because of the start of the season, he was probably the best pick for a cheap goalkeeper to have really at the start to mid-season, because he was getting clean sheets after clean sheet. Brighton were quite on form in terms of defensive. Their defense was really strong, and because of that, a lot of people went down Sanchez route because
I think
obviously,
I did.
yeah,
I think I had him for game week 1.
he was really highly owned at one point. He was over 20%, I think, ownership, because for a price of 4.5 mil, it's definitely worth the money's worth, especially when Brighton were getting clean sheets galore, where other teams weren't really getting.
Yeah, for that price range, I think 4.5 million.
Yeah, it was a
I think he was probably the best option at the start of the season.
yeah, it was probably definitely a must-have, even though he didn't score that much through the rest of the season. To begin with, at the start of the season, he was the go-to goalkeeper to go for.
Mm-hmm.
So our second goalkeeper I've opted for is Aaron Ramsdale. He got 135 points. Now, at the start of the season, he didn't play in the first 2 game weeks. It was Leno. And then Arteta decided to play Ramsdale after game week 2, which inventively did pay off hugely, because he was performing amazing saves. I'd say saves that most goalkeepers wouldn't be able to save. He was pretty much on form goalkeeper. Similar to Sanchez at the start of the season, Arsenal were in a good spot in terms of defence. Their defence wasn't as bad as it was later on in the season. And because of Ramsdale saving these goals that were just impressive, it also provided him to get bonus points a lot in the fantasy football. So with his amount of saves that he did get, it did add up, where he was holding double digits in some weeks. I think there was like 4 or 5 weeks where he got over 10 points just because
Yeah.
of the amount of saves he done, and because he got the bonus points as well on top of that. So he was a great goalkeeper. He was a little bit more expensive. I think his starting price was, I think, 5 mil.
No, I think he was 4.5 as well, wasn't he, Ramsdale? I'm
Oh,
pretty
really?
sure. I have
Oh,
a
then.
feeling he was, Yeah, I'm pretty
Oh,
certain he was 4.5. And then, yeah, I'm just checking now. Yeah, he started at 4.5 million as well.
oh wow.
Ramsdale was at 4.5 and he ended the season on 5.1. So he was another gem sort of goalie at that cheap price to have. And, he also had a good season, I'd say, for a cheap goalie.
Yeah, absolutely. He pretty much claimed the goalkeeping spot off over Leno now, pretty much for Arsenal. So he became the new nailed goalkeeper as well.
Mm. Yeah, he
So
was a bit of a
yeah,
surprise. I'd say when
he
Arsenal
was.
signed him, I was a bit skeptical if he's good enough. But obviously, yeah, ended up having a pretty decent season. Obviously, jury's still out on him, I feel, in my personal opinion. But I think you can't complain that he's been an improvement for Arsenal this season.
Yeah, I mean they did struggle later on in the season, Arsenal, but that was because of injuries and suspensions and
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal just dropping off the ball a bit more. But at the start, he was impressive. I mean, he was another goalkeeper that most people were going for in terms of
Yeah,
ownership because he was just reliable at that time, similar to
yeah, I remember
Sanchez.
he ruined my rank quite a few weeks. I was quite late on him. He started
Yeah,
getting those hauls, and then I bought him in, and then he started, getting blanks pretty much. But yeah, let's check your defense then.
yeah. So they're the two goalkeepers that I've opted for. So moving on to the defense, our first defender is Antonio Rudiger, who scored 150 points this season. And for Antonio Rudiger, I think he's another asset for fantasy that no one really. Well, actually, I'd say some people did go for him because he was at 1.14% owned.
Mm,
So a lot of people did have him early on in the start of this season in the Premier League because of Chelsea getting a lot of clean sheets. He was a nailed defender as well. He played
mm.
majority of the games this season. He wasn't really rotated as many other players for Chelsea were. So he was a great pick in terms of FPL choice. I don't know if he scored or not.
I think he got a couple headers. I remember he did score one or two. I don't know exactly how many,
Yeah,
but he was also a threat.
yeah.
On corners. Also, he got that long shot, didn't he? Where he scored from like 30 yards when he bulleted that.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it
the
was against Leeds
wonder.
or someone.
Yeah,
Can't
wonder
remember who
goal.
it was against, but yeah, he got a couple goals. So
Yeah. So he did have that aerial threat as well as a defender. 150 points as well for the season isn't too bad as well, especially. But for those that had him, he was a good choice to go for. You could pretty much carried him through the whole season, more or less. Yeah, moving on to the second defender I've chosen, and that is Laporte, who got 160 points. Personally, he was in my FPL team for a long time, Laporte. Uh, but yeah, Laporte did have a really good season. I mean, he didn't play all the games for Man City. He was sometimes rotated and whatnot. But when he did play, he did get quite a few returns. I think 4 or 5 returns in the season from either headers or tap-ins from the goal. He did have again, aerial threat, same as Rudiger has. And because of Man City playing a very high line, like you saw Cancelo playing from a middle of the pitch position, like a defender playing in the centre of the pitch. Like Man City were pressing very far forward, so it did provide opportunity for defenders of Man City like Laporte to score
how
if
many
the
goals?
opportunity arises.
Sorry, how many goals did Laporte get this season?
I think he got like 5 or 6 goals. I think it was.
Really?
I,
I can't
I,
remember. I'm just
I think
checking now.
it might be 4 or 5, but he did score a few.
I'll be. Because I remember. No, I don't think he did get. Did anyone let us know how many goals he got this season? I'm just
Definitely
checking.
scored though.
Can't see him on the list. I don't think he got that many. But I do remember he did get a goal or two, if I can remember correctly. But yeah, he was also another good player in terms of he was quite nailed, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was quite nailed most of the time. He was rarely rotated. I mean, he was like one of the main defenders for
Obviously,
Man
Diaz got
City.
injured as well, so he had to play quite a bit
Yeah,
more.
and that helped as well. Diaz being injured made him even more nailed Laporte. But 160 points isn't too bad. I mean, not a lot of people owed Laporte as much as because everyone went for Cancelo really and just stuck with one Man City defender. But he was also good, I'll say, differential if you wanted to go different to Cancelo, because obviously I think he scored more than Cancelo as well, but Cancelo got more assists.
Cancelo got one goal. I can't
Yeah,
see. Let me
yeah.
see. Let me just double check Laporte. But yeah, let's move on to the next defender. Or are you still on Laporte? I'm just trying to check how many goals he scored.
Yeah, that's all right. I can't
I feel
remember
like
what
he didn't
Laporte's
score
price
much in the
was.
league.
Something tells me he did, but I don't know. I must have got someone else.
Wait. Okay, apparently he got 4 goals.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he did
Really?
score.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, he was quite an aerial threat in defence, like from corners and just playing the high line.
Yeah, okay, I'm wrong. Sorry. He got
Also,
4 goals this season, which obviously is pretty good. That's the same as Marcus Rashford. That's the same as Lacazette. That's the same as Mbuemo. Same as Timo Werner. Same as Ziyech. Which I don't know if that says a lot more about other players, but yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, it's quite. He was underneath the radar for, even though he did score that many goals, still people didn't really go for him. He was priced at 5.5 mil. So
Not bad.
He was a cheap defender to go for. But yeah, another great option to have if you did own Laporte. So moving on to the next defender, I have chosen Matip, who scored 170 points.
Yeah, this is the guy I wanted to speak about because for me, he was the one I was kind of alluding to previously when I said the most valuable defender. Sorry, the most value for money defender there is this season. For that price, 170 points for, I think it was 5 million at the start of the season. Was he 5.5 or 5.5?
He was 5 mil.
5 mil, and he ended up getting 170 points. I think that is great.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. He was not owned at all. 4% I think owned Matip most of the season. He barely reached 5%. No one really went through Matip, even though he played all matches apart from one, didn't he? Matip.
Surprisingly, he actually stayed fit because usually in most seasons gone by, he gets injured and he misses large parts of the season. And luckily as a Liverpool fan, he managed to stay fit for the whole season. And when he plays, he's a brilliant player, in my opinion. I think he's one of the best centre-backs in the league. The only problem is he doesn't play enough games. And when he does play, you see the difference he makes. He also got a couple goals this season, I believe. And 170 points. I think he is the best, for that price range. He's been the best defender this season, around 5 million mark.
Yeah, I think I brought him in late on in the season because of.
I think you had him on a free hit, if I remember, or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that where he did pay off though. He scored, yeah. It was a great transfer in, quick tag to bring in Matip, which did reward me very well. But yeah, he was another great asset that no one really went for again, like very low owned.
Yeah.
And there's 170 points there. So
3 goals he got this season. Matip. Which is the same as Robertson as well, same as Van Dijk, who also got 3 goals. Trent only got 2 goals. So, yeah, 3 goals for a defender that's priced at 5 million is not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, very good. So
and obviously a lot of clean sheets. Sorry,
that's
clean sheets as well. But yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next defender, who is Matty Cash, who got 147 points this season. Matty Cash is a different one that no one really opted for again. But when he did get returns, he got massive returns. I think on 4 occasions, especially on one occasion where he double hauled points from scoring, I think 2 goals and 1 assist and a clean sheet, which hauled him massive amount of points in 1 week. He was a great asset if you want to get an Aston Villa player into your team. He was not really one to go for many players, obviously because of template. He didn't really fit into many, so he probably was more of a bench option rather than a starting option.
Sorry, he did get 4 goals this season as well, so not too bad as well. He got 2 more goals than Trent.
Oh, there you go. He was again a goal threat again that not many people did go for. I think his starting price was 5 mil as well, so he was a cheap defender to go for if you wanted to go down that route. But obviously with template, not many people opted for Aston Villa defenders like Matty Cash. But until later on in the season, where he started to get returns and whatnot, he was more of a one to keep an eye on. But yeah, moving on to the last defender now, we have Gabriel, the Arsenal defender, who got 146 points this season. This is probably a weird one for people because no one really went for Gabriel.
Is he the highest scoring defender this season? The highest scoring defender this season. I think he got 5 league goals.
yeah, it was quite a shock because many people
Yeah,
doubted
5 goals.
Gabriel to get anything, but he proved everyone wrong pretty much. That said, he's not a great defender asset to go for because he won't get returns, but he ended up getting 5 goals this season. So
Which is the same as Coutinho, same as Calvert-Lewin. It's quite funny when you look at it like that. But yeah, 5 goals
yeah,
not bad for a defender, and then 146 points, I'll say is all right for him for his
yeah,
season.
yeah, it's not too bad for that season. Again, he was probably like a bench player that no one really played, but he was a surprising asset if you did own him because he wasn't expected to get 5 goals this season. But yeah,
Yeah,
strange things have happened. So that's all the defenders now done. So yeah, let us know what you think of those defenders. I mean, they're completely different to
yeah,
any
obviously.
template, obviously, because I wanted to do different. But in any type of view, these players have done something exceptional, and which makes them the MVP in those terms.
Yeah, obviously, I've gone with more of the popular picks, which you say. You've
Yeah,
gone a bit more different. Obviously, you have picked different players to me completely. But yeah,
yeah,
let's check what the midfield is saying.
yeah. So now we move on to the interesting bit, the midfielders. So the first midfielder is Diego Jota, who scored 175 points this season. He was also a very valuable asset through the season, with being a midfielder for Liverpool. He was playing
He
pretty
was
much
playing up
most
front, pretty
games.
much.
Yeah, he played up front pretty much throughout the season until pretty much when Luis Diaz came into the frame, and then he started playing less and being rotated. But
Yeah,
before that, he was getting quite a few goals. I think I don't know how many he scored,
he
but
ended up on 15 goals this season, which is still very good. Same amount as De Bruyne, one less
yeah,
than Mane. So
yeah. So he sort of became template. I'll say
he was
through.
template, I say,
Yeah,
before January. During that Christmas period, a lot of people had him. I had him in my team, and I think I had Salah, Jota. A lot of people had the Salah Jota double up in midfield. Obviously, then we know what happened in January when Luis Diaz signed. He ended up getting rotated a bit more. People
yeah,
forget, obviously, because the ending he had. He had a great start as well to the season.
yeah. He was a very great asset to own. I think I owned him really early as well. He was one of the early players I brought in before we started getting returns on, so I was quite happy with that. But yeah, 175 points. That's quite a lot for midfielders to get. If you did have him, then he rewarded you greatly for that. We move on to our next midfielder, who is Sadio Mane, who got 183 points. Well, obviously, we all know that Mane is now leaving the Liverpool squad and will be moving clubs. But he is in the team. I have picked him because he was performing exceptionally well through the whole season, especially near the end of the season. He looked like he was in his prime the way he was playing. He was getting goals galore, assists. He was a great asset to own if you didn't have Salah. I mean, when Salah wasn't playing as well, he was probably a good swap for him, Mane. As the price margin were pretty close between them, I think Mane was 7.5 mil as a starting price. So he was a good swap for Salah if you did go for that sort of transfer when Salah wasn't performing that well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
if you had
100.
Mane, sorry, if you had Mane from like second half of the season, obviously he outscored Salah, didn't he? Second
Yeah,
part of the season.
by by quite a few. Surprisingly, no one really saw that coming. We just thought Salah would just keep scoring and scoring. But yeah, that's two Liverpool assets mentioned in the midfield. So we move on to the third one, and that is James Maddison, who got 181 points this season. He was another player that sort of became more of a chosen pick, I'd say, through the mid-season where double game weeks were in play, because
Hmm.
obviously Leicester had a lot of experiments, so they had a lot of double game weeks. But with Madison, he was one of the key players that would get returns for Leicester, especially with Vardy was pretty much out for most of the season. It provided Maddison with more of an attacking threat up front, which I think did uh, it did lead on to him getting that amount of points, because I don't think he would have been that high scoring in terms of points without Vardy being in the frame. I think he would have scored much less than Vardy would have. But
Yeah, what was he at priced at the start of the season? It was at 7.5 million as well, wasn't he?
yeah, I think he was around a 7.5 mil.
Which is still very good value, for the points that he got.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he was 7 million.
7 million, so you're better.
Yeah, so it was a good pick for most of the season. I mean, he almost
especially the double game weeks. I think I had him for game week 37, double game week 37. He did get me a decent return haul. I think he hauled for me, if I believe correctly. Let me just check.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
So game week 37, which was a double game week, I got 115 points, obviously, because of free hit. He got me 25 points. He got me 15 points against Leicester, and then he got me 10 points against Chelsea. So I remember game week 37, he was very good for me that week.
Yeah, overall he wasn't a too bad option. I mean, Leicester were struggling, but Maddison was still scoring. So in that way, it still helped a lot. That for Maddison owners, that as long as he was consistent, then there's no reason to not have him in your team.
Yep.
So we'll move on to the next midfielder, who is Mason Mount, and he scored 169 points. Now, personally, for me, Mason Mount was a bit of an annoyance through the season. Like, when I had him, he was always blanking. And when I didn't have him, he was always scoring. So, and as well with rotation as well, he was a rotated player in the Chelsea squad. Like, there would be times where we thought Mount would play, but then Tuchel decides to bench him instead, which didn't seem really why he would do that. But if he was to play most of the matches in the season, I do think he would have come close to like Kevin De Bruyne or Salah sort of points. I think he would have broken the 200-point barrier. But also as well, if there were injuries to Chilwell and Reece James as well, which would have affected Chelsea's forward attack as well. But Mount could have had a much better season. I mean, he did have, I'd say, still a good season. He did score a few goals and assisted a lot. But I still think he could have got much more than 169 points. But he was a good player to own at the right time.
I agree.
Unlike I did. I owned him at the wrong time. But yeah, he was another pick I chose to put in my team just because of when he did play, he did get returns and was a good player. Good player for a rotation player, I would say.
Who's the final midfielder you had then?
So the final midfielder, now this is a bit of scrutiny, probably, is Fernandes, who got 151 points. Now, there's a very good reason for this. There's two good reasons why I picked Fernandes. The first one is how he started the season off, scoring a hat-trick in the first game week. I don't know who it was against. I think it was Leeds. Yeah, it was Leeds. Yeah, scoring a hat-trick against Leeds was the top moment of Fernandes' FPL career and football career. We all thought from that moment Fernandes was going to be like probably a GOAT.
The thing with Fernandes, I'll say, last season, if you remember, he got 256 points or something like that. He did break the 250-point mark, and that's when he was 12 million to start the season, by the way, guys. 12 million. I think he's going to get a massive price decrease. 151 points, which was, as you can see, he was outscored by Mount, Maddison, Jota, Mane even, and he's priced at 12 million. I think it's a bit too high for him. I know he had a big drop-off this season, but maybe next season, if he's priced at 10 million, do you think that makes him more attractive good looking at next season?
Yeah, I do. That leads me on to the second reason why I picked Fernandes. The only reason why Fernandes didn't score or get much returns in the season is, well, we all know because Man United struggled through most of the season. As a Man United fan, that could be easily seen, the frustration of the club itself being in a rather state of badness. But let's say if Man United had not had any problems in the season and were performing well, you would expect Fernandes to be hauling probably near Salah level, Son level of points this season. He
Well,
wouldn't have
he
got.
was last season. I think
Yeah,
he did get 250 plus points, and that's why he got the big price rise
yeah,
to 12 million. But then obviously he's had another dip this season, so
yeah,
it will be interesting to see his price next season, because if he's priced at 10 million, maybe more people will be tempted to bring him in and take a punt at that price rather than, because I think value for money wise, Bruno and Ronaldo, value for money really wasn't there with the price they are.
yeah, which could be a good thing.
The other thing with Fernandes is, I think in game week 25, I think it was a double game week 25, he did end up getting a big haul. I can't remember exactly how many points it was, but I know in game week 25 he got a big haul, which I missed out on because I went for Ronaldo captain that week instead of him.
Was that when Ronaldo didn't play?
Yeah, one of the games Ronaldo didn't play. It was against Aston Villa, where Fernandes scored against Aston Villa, and I think that was the game where Coutinho also scored as well.
Yeah, because
Fernandes got a massive haul that week, and unfortunately to miss out on that. But yeah, Fernandes is an interesting pick. Obviously, you've gone with something a bit more different. I don't really agree with Fernandes being in the team, but that's my opinion. I just think for the price he costs, I think he was Man United players for me all season have been a massive letdown, really.
Yeah, I'll say only Fernandes and Ronaldo were probably the best picks for Man United in terms of assets. Maybe De Gea, if you could squeeze to goalkeeper, but that's because he had to make a lot of saves. But with Fernandes at the start of the season, that's why I personally went for him, because he had a great start of the season. That's more for that part of the season rather than the rest of it, which was, well, let's just say it's glad that it's over now. We don't have to witness any more of that pain.
Yeah. Let's see who you've gone with up front, though. Obviously, you've gone different to me.
Yes, so this was a bit of a hard choice because obviously forwards didn't perform. But the first forward I went for is Emmanuel Dennis, who scored 134 points this season. And he was obviously Watford are relegated. But despite Watford being relegated, Dennis was a great player to own at the beginning.
Start, yeah. And then he kind of went all down.
Yeah, he was basically like an Antonio. It started all well, and then it just gradually got worse as the season went on. But if you did own him earlier on in the season, then it would have paid off for you. But
yeah, he ended the season on 10 goals as well. So for that price, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think no one expected him to get 10 goals. But
yeah. Plus, there wasn't really any forward options to go for.
He had a hot streak, didn't he? On that streak where he just went on scoring every week, it seemed, and then after like game week 20 or something, wherever it was, he just didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was quite mad because if he scored 10 goals, you would have thought Watford wouldn't be in that relegation. Because obviously, 10 goals is a big difference between winning and losing a game. But there it is.
Who's the next guy you've gone for then? So you started with Dennis. Anyone interesting out that you've gone with?
So the next one I've gone with is Tony, and he got 139 points this season. With Tony, it's a funny one again because when people owned him, he didn't get any returns, such as when I owned him, didn't get no returns at all. But when I didn't own him, he was getting returns like no tomorrow. And
he ended the season on 12 points. Oh, sorry, 12 goals. So not bad.
Yeah.
From Tony, what was he priced at? 6 million?
I think he was 6.5.
6.5. So, what did you make of Tony though? Was he?
Tony was a funny one because Brentford, because then they were the promoted team last season to go into Premier League. There was bit of hope for Tony to do well in the Premier League, which he in a way he did, but the way the season went at the start, he wasn't really that much of a threat in terms of up front.
Yeah, he was in my team, I believe, right near the. Or did I have? I think I did have him or Mbomo. I think it was Mbomo I went with.
Yeah, we all thought Bremo would be the Brentford player, but he sort of went down to Tony, I think, near the
Yeah,
later stages.
I didn't really like Tony as an option much, but I know at the end of near the end of the season, I did one of the games he also got a hat trick, didn't he?
Yeah,
If I
he got
remember.
a hat trick. I think 2 penalties and one
Yeah, he
third
ended the
man
season
goal.
on 12 goals, which is not the worst for for a player playing for a promoted team and that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I see
it's
why
really
you
good.
went with obviously different.
Yeah, plus it did improve when Ericsson did go for Brentford as well. Tony's involvement of play and returns increased more. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting next season what happens with Tony.
Who's the next guy
Okay,
and the
so
final guy in your team?
this is probably a shocker, but the third and final forward is Pookie.
I actually think Pookie's been a better option than Tony.
Shockingly, Pookie was the third most high scoring player in terms of forwards this season.
Really?
Yeah, he was the third highest forward in terms of points.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he? Pretty much. Because
Just about though.
how many points? Wait, how many goals did he get this season? 11.
Yeah, 11 goals this season. Despite Norwich as well being relegated, Pookie was a good forward option to go for. Pretty much the entire season. He was cheap as well.
He was 6 million, I think, or 6.5. 6.5, I think.
I think it was 5 point something.
Nah, he was definitely 6. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, he was 6 or 6.5. I can't remember, but yeah, I know what you mean. That's when you know the forward options weren't really great. I'll let you check that just to double check his price, but
Wait, it was 6 mil.
6 mil. So that's how you know the forward options really wasn't great. When Pookie, as you say, was he the third highest scoring forward?
Yeah, third highest scoring forward.
Because I'm assuming Kane, Ronaldo. What about Jamie Vardy though? Jamie Vardy not scoring more than him. Jamie Vardy got 15 goals.
Jamie Vardy got into 100 points this season.
Oh, okay. Surprisingly. Obviously,
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Jamie Vardy did get 15 goals as well this season. So, and then Tony got 12. Pookie actually got 11 goals, so he scored one less than Tony, but he ended up getting a bit more points. So, for 6 million, I do think Pookie probably was the best option, for value for money.
I think more people went for him later on in the season, but people could have jumped on him really early when he started to score. Because really for Norwich, he was really the only goal scorer really that could change the game or get returns on. Wasn't really any other Norwich asset you could go for, really. But Pookie was a weird one because obviously Norwich got relegated, but Pookie will still get returns from games, even though he is a great player for Norwich. It's a shame that the rest of the Norwich team isn't up to probably the level of Pookie, which if they were, they could have saved themselves from being relegated. So it's something to look out for Norwich as well. For new players, they definitely need new signings.
If they want to come back up,
yeah, and to stay up as well because they keep going up and down like a yo-yo. So
yeah. All right. So that's your team. Obviously, you've tried to be different and pick different players to me.
Yeah.
You've tried to pick players that aren't the same, which is a shout. I think out of the players you've picked, the one that I like the most is Matip, 170 points, which is more than pretty much most of your players there as a defender at 5.5 million. He outscored Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes was 12 million asset, and Matip was 5.5 million asset. So that just shows how good of a season Matip had and how much of a gem he was this season if you had him. And but next season obviously is going to be interesting. Obviously, we've had some players, as you can see, that overperformed. Like Bowen, I'd say, was going to get a big price rise. Son, price rise, and overperformed. And then you have some underperformers potentially, like Fernandes. Even someone like Ronaldo, could he get a price decrease? I don't know, maybe not. But it'll be interesting to see what happens next season regarding the prices. Obviously, if you guys haven't checked our previous video, we did do a video regarding price predictions for some players that we think will go up or down. Be sure to check that out on our previous video after this one. And yeah, guys, this has been the FPL team of the season video. So can we quickly get to my team again, Jordan, which I showed, or I'll let you bring that up again. Or would it do all the animations? Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's my team, guys. If you missed it earlier, if you joined just recently, that is my team that I've gone with. So I've picked more of the, let's say template or players. And yeah, some players that stand out for me there. Obviously, Bowen I've mentioned. I think gets a price rise, and I think we got an announcement today that next Thursday, 16th of June, there will be a the fixtures will be announced. So we will do a video regarding that. But this has today been just a team of the season. We hope you guys enjoyed the players that we've picked. Let us know if we've missed anyone. Let us know who you would have included, and we'll let you guys comment who your player of the season was in your FPL team and who you've enjoyed following the most this season. Let us know, drop a comment. And yeah, we'll probably wrap the stream up. Obviously, we've gone just over an hour. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Jordan?
No, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm looking forward to the fixture announcement though next Thursday. It's going to be interesting to see who's got the easy and who's got the hardest fixtures at the start of the season, because that will ultimately decide who we really go for in terms of players for next season.
Yeah, I agree. Also, obviously some news coming out. If you guys have seen, Liverpool are close to buying Nunes. So we will do a video regarding signings. Let us know if that's something you would be interested in, where we talk about signings and we'll also do price predictions for these players. So yeah, Darwin Nunes looks like he's close to signing for Liverpool. So let's see what happens regarding that. We'll probably have some videos out. So yeah, guys, be sure to tune in next week, exactly a week's time, where the fixtures go live, and we'll have a video out on that as well. Got a comment here though. Another comment from Hossam. He says, I do agree with Huss, standard premium players team, and I much like differential Jordan's team. Well done, guys. Yeah, we've tried to give a different kind of perspective. I've gone with more of the more obvious picks, I'd say. And obviously Jordan's tried to be a different pick players that I haven't, just to make it a bit more interesting for you guys, so we don't just agree on everything. So yeah, that was the purpose of the video. We hope you've enjoyed, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Share the video if you can on your socials. We have a lot of content to come, guys. Obviously, it is the off season. The season doesn't start for a while still, but we'll still have a content out for you, hopefully like once a week. And then once the season starts again, we're back on the grind 3 times a week, 4 times a week, wherever it normally is. And yeah, guys, that's the plan. We'll be back hopefully next week with another video. And for now, I hope you enjoyed the stream. And we'll see you on the next one, guys. So take it easy, everyone. And yeah, peace out.
Yep. See you next Thursday, guys. Have a good week.
Cheers.